10 different countries right now are willing to put boots in the ground in Ukraine as peacekeepers. At the same time, we're seeing Japan and Sweden both coming together to say, hey, you know what? We can do some security guarantees here. Look, at this very moment, the entire world is literally coming together to say, we need this war to stop in Ukraine's favor, and we're doing whatever we need to do or what we will need to do to make this happen. The only country not doing that is Russia, who even today is kind of now walking back a lot of the promises that they made to Donald Trump during that Alaska summit. So let's back up for a second here. According to Bloomberg, more than likely, as soon as the end of this week, we could be seeing a package of security guarantees that the world, we're talking about a decent amount of countries, the coalition of the willing, the United States, all come together and say to Ukraine, this is what we could offer you if we can convince Putin to stop his war. And on top of that, 10 different countries are ready to have some kind of peacekeepers on the ground inside of Ukraine to make sure that Russia doesn't attack Ukraine. That's one of those security guarantees. And I need to add that, yes, the United States has not ruled out sending U.S. troops into Ukraine once peace has officially been announced. That way, it could deter Russia from ever attacking again. And to quote Trump on this, he says, when it comes to security, they're willing to put people on the ground. Adding later, we're willing to help them with things, especially probably you could talk about by air because there's no one that has the kind of stuff we have. Really, they don't have, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. Which means we could potentially have European troops on the ground inside of Ukraine and the United States flying above Ukrainian skies to make sure and monitor that Russia doesn't do anything. At the same time, the Russians are saying, oh no, we need to be on board with these security guarantees for Ukraine, adding that to discuss security guarantees seriously without Russia is a road to nowhere. That is what the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov said earlier today. But in reality, we're protecting ourselves from you. So no, you're not supposed to be a part of the security guarantees because then you learn where the lack of security is and then you just go for it. This comes as we're seeing countries like Sweden and Japan come forward and say that they're now looking at their stance in the coalition of the willing and see what they could do more of. For example, we looked at the Japanese Prime Minister who said in an interview earlier today, we'll watch the ongoing discussions closely and while carefully considering what Japan could do and should do, including various legal and capability aspects, will also play an appropriate role. As well as the Swedish Prime Minister, who said in Stockholm, we are ready to contribute as many troops as the parliament allows for peacekeeping, also military equipment. So as you can see, we're literally seeing the entire world come together to say, you know what, we really need this war to end. Ukraine, we're going to give you everything we need to. We just need to convince Russia.